Well, make it pass if it does.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. I will call the Policies and Procedures Committee meeting to order for Monday, May 4th. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from February? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Or all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. It looks like there's no old business, so let's move to new business, the photo ID badge policy.
So this is not a new policy. We have had a photo ID policy since at least 2013. If you look, there's 2 copies of policies within your packet. The first one is going to be the proposed revised policy, but I want to kind of focus on the second one that's in your packet right now. When the photo ID badge policy was originally created, it was more of a mandate about wearing IDs. And in fact, it did also cover the courts and the various colors of the IDs that were used and what their functionality was. When this policy went into effect, there was quite a bit of pushback on the mandate portion. And as a result, several people or departments were not wearing their IDs for a number of different types of reasons. So as we started looking at the policies, and you can see on the older one, it was adopted in 13, it was amended in 14, 15, 16, 17, and twice in 18. There's a reason that the policy was amended, as they were trying to fine tune it to a policy that would work within the county. And so what we've done, the first one that you're looking at, the photo ID badge policy, kind of reestablishes the purpose and the scope for what the badge policy and the wearing of the policy should be. So I wanted to point out the first one, the purpose. This policy establishes standard procedures for the issuance and utilization of county photo identification badges, herein referred to as an ID badge, enhancing security while maintaining operational flexibility. And it balances secure identification standards with practical working conditions. That's kind of key because we want people to feel that they can wear their IDs where practical. And I should say, as we're going through this, there's not an we do not necessarily have to move this on to the board if you're not ready to, since it's the first time you're seeing it. In the revised form, we can always bring it back to you next month. As we go on through the scope, you can see this policy is quite a bit shorter, but the scope of this policy applies to all personnel, including full-time and part-time county employees, temporary, seasonal, and contract personnel, volunteers, and guests. And if a department has a contractor, volunteer, or guest on county property, that department is expected to escort said party until that party's business is complete. This is an example where you have someone from IT that's coming in to maybe do something, or somebody coming in with building and grounds going into a department. Rather than just having that contractor go to that department on their own, they're expected to be escorting them to the department. In some cases, when we have sections in here that refer to guests or volunteers, some of the departments are pretty locked down. So if they're going to have someone come into their department, they want to make sure that they have been identified through a county issued ID. The policy statement is that when Lenawee County personnel should wear an issued ID badge for security and identification purposes. So while acknowledging practical working conditions, employees are expected to exercise professional judgment to ensure safety and security. It is expected that when ID badges are worn, they should be visibly displayed when you are accessing a secured county facility, attending official meetings or public events, visiting other county departments, entering private property in an official capacity, or whenever requested by a supervisor or security personnel. The next section goes on to talk about the ID badge design and content. And then as you flip over to the back side, there's some mentions here of issuance and control. Under the issuance, we want to say the Information and Technology Department or IT Department will be the department issuing badges upon written or electronic request from the department head. That is something that is newer that's been taking place. The department head needs to sign a form electronically and schedule an appointment for the time for the ID badge picture to be taken. The defacing of ID badges must not be altered or defaced in any manner, or I should say the ID badges should not be defaced or altered in any manner, and it should not have stickers or other items affixed to the badge. ID badges remain the property of the county and shall not be altered, duplicated, or used for personal purposes. Department heads are responsible for collecting ID badges from employees upon separation of employment. And any lost or stolen ID badge must be reported immediately to the IT department so access can be deactivated. There are some cases in which fobs are embedded into the ID badges. And so if an ID badge is lost, it could potentially give access to buildings or areas that they should not be accessed. Exemptions to this policy continue to be uniformed officers, uniformed bailiffs, and correction officers in their capacity. So that is what we have revised the policy to read in comparison to the very long policy that we had before. And like I said, some of the things that were contained in the older policy had to do with court security, and court security has also changed, which changed the previously existing policy. Anybody has any questions? I will attempt to answer those.
Go ahead.
Simple. Spraying the badge, attending official meetings or public events, that is both on county property and away from county property. You're at an event at the Armory representing the county, is that what I?
Yeah, whenever you're representing the county, it's suggested that you wear your badge.
And issuance and control, defacing. I noticed you changed while you were explaining it, that you changed it from must to should. Is there a reason for that?
Oh, I did not mean to change the word if I changed it.
Correct.
I apologize. No, the way it reads here is the way we want it to, which is the ID badge must not be altered or defaced in any manner. I apologize for that.
And one final, is this, the policy statement, is that going to be part of the policy? Is it? Look, your explanation,
The policy statement number 3.
the entirety, because there's a duplication here. At the bottom of that, it'll say, exceptions to the policy, and it repeats itself on the next page.
Yeah, are you referring to the policy we're getting rid of?
That's the one we're getting rid of.
Yeah, so there's 2 policies in your packet, the one that was adopted in 13 and then amended,
That was me.
and then the one, yeah, that we're looking at now.
No policy, not repetition.
Yeah, there's a lot in the old policy that, and quite frankly, there's a lot of mandates and those mandates were not being followed. And I don't really see the sense in having a policy that has mandates that aren't going to be followed and there's no enforcement action to require it. So we wanted to create a new policy.
Commissioner Van Dorn.
Yeah, I've always had a concern about this because I'm not sure everyone has a badge. Have all the commissioners gotten their badges?
I do
We
not.
know of?
I don't think we got them. I had one that's expired.
You know, with everything that's going on today in society and throughout the country, as we just saw you know, a week ago with the President of the United States. I mean, these badges, like, for instance, if we have a major disaster and they set up a roadblock or whatever, I mean, if you don't have an orange bar, you're not gonna get in the area. And, you know, I get concerned that people don't have badges and, you know, they're just gonna be left out, so.
So, and that's a, that's a really good point. If commissioners do not have an ID badge, they should be getting in touch with our office so that we can set up a time to
Sure.
get those pictures taken. And at the same time, if your ID badge is expired, you should be getting in touch with our office so that we can set up a time for you to get that updated, badge taken care of.
And so, do I understand the reason that there was so much talk about this or indifference for the policy was because people didn't want their name to be shown when they're working at a counter or something? Is that what was going on here?
There's a number of different reasons depending on the department that you're talking about. There was a lot of pushback coming from the courts for a lot of different reasons there. I will say some departments are really good about where they wear their ID all the time. As an example, our office, the only reason I have mine on today is because we're talking about the ID policy, and if anybody had a question on an ID, I wanted to have it here so that you could see it. Typically, we don't wear them either. Now, if we go out, in an official capacity, then we make sure that we have something on identifying us that we work for the county. But the issue here was that some departments are wearing them, some departments refuse to wear them. And so this is a policy that was on our books, and as we're reviewing all county policies, we came up to review this one. And we were having a discussion within the office about, do we even want a photo ID policy? And we decided that, yes, we do need a policy. Because we need to be able to let people know that you should have an ID policy for a lot of the safety reasons that you were just talking about. And so this kind of outlines who should have them, how you should obtain them, and what you should and shouldn't do with them. We thought it would make it a very simplistic policy that way.
And then it becomes their responsibility to, if we do have some type of emergency and they can't be involved, then it's on them, not on us.
Yeah, I mean, as an employee of the county, there has to be a certain amount of ownership of, the things that need to be taken care of. And having that ID, is one of those things that we need to, take care of. And we want to make sure that we always know where it is.
Agreed.
Terry?
I may be reaching some minutia here, but in the exemptions, uniformed officers, uniformed bailiffs, corrections officers, what do they do with plainclothes officers? Detectives who don't wear uniforms.
Don't they show their badge like,
That's what I'm saying, is the badge gonna be replacing the ID?
We would leave it up to that department to figure out how to handle those individuals. We can't have a policy that's going to take care of every single type of county employee, quite frankly, which is part of what was the problem with the old policy was. There are so many different departments within the county, and even within those departments, there are different levels of type of work that is being done. And there, in some cases, having someone identified as a county employee when they're out doing their work could actually cause hindrance or harm. So we want to make sure that we're keeping a policy that allows for direction for how to obtain the policy, as I said, how you should wear it, what you should and shouldn't do with it, without mandating that every single employee have it visibly displayed at all times.
I think the publishers now anyway. Sheriff, logo up. Typical.
Any other questions? So are we gonna take action on this to decide whether we're gonna bring this forward then today, or what's the, I guess, what's the request? Is that what?
That is up to the commission, or up to this committee, excuse me. This is the first time you've seen this revised
Right.
policy, so if you're comfortable and you want to move it forward, you may. If you would prefer, we can, which is something that we've been doing for any newer policies, is it's presented, you think about it, and then it comes back to the next meeting. So it's up to this board. There's no urgency to this policy, so it's your decision.
I don't see it as an urgency, but I see nothing wrong or nothing that I feel needs to be questioned in the policy, and we've kind of held this off for quite some time.
Right.
I would move that we move it forward to Ways and Means.
Is there a second?
You can second it.
I'll second it. Yeah, I'm comfortable with this policy as stated as well. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we will move it forward then. Let's move on. We've got another policy to look at, the revenue recognition policy.
I am going to let Mr. Zmolzak take this one. He drafted this policy and he can explain why we're bringing such a policy to you when you've not had one before.
Thank you. Excuse me. This policy is coming about as a result of our audit in this last cycle. The Government Accounting Standard Board, they provide us with guidelines and rules as to when we can recognize revenue. And generally, they define it as when we have an enforceable legal claim and resources are available, or when all eligibility requirements have been met and resources are available. The Standards Board defines available resources as within 60 days of year end, so March 1st, basically. This year was the first year that, since I've been here and probably in many years, that we had about $310,000 in revenue that we had a legal claim for. We've met the eligibility requirements, but we have not yet received as of March 1st. And actually, as of today, we haven't received it yet. And quite often, these are state grants. The problem it creates is that we've expended all the money in 2025, but we don't have the income yet. And so we will show that income as being received in 2026. So we have to basically generate a paper entry to balance that timing difference. The GASB, the Standards Boards, allows us to define what availability of resources is. Currently, it defaults to 60 days. We're asking for that to become 180 days. So then we would have until basically July 1 to receive those resources. And for all practical purposes, by the time the auditors come in the next year, we will have received those anyway. So it would not be an issue. The one thing GASB does not allow for is changing property tax collections from 60 days to a later date. They say on March 1st, if you have not received property taxes, they become delinquent. And that's a rule that is fast and firm on GASB's part. And so that is not what we're asking to change, but rather all other revenue. As I mentioned, this is about $310,000 that we had to defer from 25 into 26. And this would be a new policy. We did not see any other policy regarding revenue recognition in our policy book. This is also not an immediate factor as far as approving. We would like to have this on record by December 31st so that next year's audit for 2026 will have that provision in it in case there should be some delayed payments on some grants. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead, Commissioner Collins.
So I assume you said that property taxes would not apply under this. Is there no need to reflect that in the statement?
No, because by default, we don't have a policy, so by default, we are under GASB, the GASB regulations as it is. They do provide the out for us to basically modify non-property tax revenue.
Are there any other questions? No? Okay, are we ready to take, do we have to, vote on this to move this forward, right, to,
You can handle this the same way as the other. You can either, if you're good with this, first time seeing it and you're good, we can move it forward to the Board of Commissioners. If you want to take another month to take a look at it, then we can bring it back next month for your further consideration.
okay, well, I mean, I think it's,
I would move that it be forwarded. And my reasoning for that is that I think this board is received sufficient explanation. If it needs to be reviewed further, it can be sent back from Ways and Means to this board. So I would move it be moved forward to Ways and Means.
is there support? Support? All those in favor, say aye. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
So, Mr. Zamalzak, will you be available at the, meeting to give your definition of this policy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So then all those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, we'll move this forward to Ways and Means and
I just want to correct, these are going to the Board of Commissioners.
Board of Commissioners, sorry. Yep.
They'll be reported out under the, section for policy and procedures. Chair.
Okay,
So that's
commit
where-
to the, Board of Commission meeting, yes.
So when it gets to your part, Beth, those will have to be.
Presented, yeah.
Yeah, because it can't be a, what do we call it?
Consent agenda. Cannot be consent agenda.
Yeah, because we're not all here, right?
Sure. All right, any other business? Any public comment? Don't see any public. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Any support? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.